tonight. I am so excited. As you all know, my name is Paul and I'll be your host tonight. So hello, church family. It's Wednesday, May 5th, and it's our midweek Oasis Wednesday night service. And why do we call it Oasis? It's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. And Reverend Jeff designed and introduced our Wednesday night services in the satsang style with the intention that they be informal, intimate, and rich. And that's our intention, and that's what we will deliver tonight. I'd like to remind you of our annual theme from the home office. It's Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our monthly theme this month is Holy, Holy, Uprising. That's WHOLLY, uprising. So we're going to have an uprising, and it's going to be holy and holy tonight. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. I'll have some information in the announcements of how you can stay better connected with us. And we're grateful for all of you that have decided to join and be with us tonight. Just so you know, when you do enter, you will be muted by our Zoom team, and that's to improve the quality of the transmission. A little bit later in the program, we will be sharing and chatting based on the content of our speaker tonight, and we'll have you turn on your cameras and join in the rich, informal, and intimate discussion that we're planning to do. With that in mind, it is time to open us up in prayer. We have the wonderful Ministry of Prayer leader herself, one of our beloved practitioners, Dorothy Mendez, here tonight. Dorothy, can I ask you to open us up in prayer?
Yes, you can, my dear. Let us all just take in a deep breath and just let go. As we open our hearts and our minds to the one divine that we call Spirit, God. I am knowing and blessing this service tonight. As we bless our emeritus practitioner, Dodie Chaney Fernandes, as she steps forth in her maiden voyage to bring to us the word of truth, love, understanding, and most of all, the truth of who we are as individuals and how we grow through this holy, holy uprising. And we use our uprising, we stand in that principle of love, joy, peace, harmony, balance. These are fighting words that we use to move forward in this thing called life. So I am blessing each and every one of us on this call and knowing that we are transformed and renewed by Dodie's words to us today. So let us just sit back and know that God is our source and our sufficiency in all things, and that God moves through Dodie this evening, and that we are full of that thing called life and love. And we give thanks for this Cinco de Mayo day, that we celebrate this wonderful day of Cinco de Mayo. Not just drinking and having fun, but just celebrating those who have established this day through a loss of life. But we give thanks for everyone. We give thanks for the technicians. We give thanks for our hosts, and know that everything is working for our highest good today. For there is no lack, there is no limitation, there is only the power in the presence of God. And I say, use it, believe it, because all things are possible with God. So as I release this word, I give thanks for Dodie this evening as she brings to us, through God, the spirit of love, peace, and harmony. I let go, I let God, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Wow. Wow, Dorothy Mendez. That's why we bring you to the party. You open us up strong. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much. Reminding us of how fabulous, how fortunate we are to have a place, a spiritual home called the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we can gather together on Wednesday nights in our special Oasis place. Tonight, as Dorothy has introduced, we have a fantastic speaker. I am so in love with this lady. She has helped me change my life through what she has decided to do as a gift to the center, which is hold a noontime spiritual journey following the guidance from Dr. Daniel Lee Morgan. And if you don't have the book, find it. It's a daily inspiration. And Dodie has been leading this since February with Deborah Jackson. It started out as Black History Month, and they snagged me, and I am hooked. Hooked. This thing has been the best thing since sliced bread for me spiritually. I feel so whole and complete to have this group meet every day when I can attend. Dodie, you've just been an inspiration. And they say they added the word emeritus to your practitioner title, and that's extremely special. You've served our community long and well. And so we bless you this evening as you venture into the Wednesday night delivery. She's done such a great job on this Dr. Dan journey that we invited her to speak. And so I know, Dodie, as you launch forward here, it's going to be more than fabulous. So, Dodie, I turn it over to you. The program, the floor is yours, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. And thank you, Dorothy, for that blessing of an opening prayer. As I started out before, to share with you that the Black History Month, I was featured along with Reverend Fran and Ziska. And the interviewer asked me, how did I come to Oakland Center for Spiritual Living? And I shared with her how I actually got here. But and that's what we put in the newsletter. But when I read what Francione had said, this was before the newsletter, and what Ziska had said, they both talked about how they lived, how they was living before Science and Mind. So I shared with the interviewer that I had been a part-time model, but it had already gone to press. But I want to share this with you because things happen in your life and you don't know why they happen and what shifted you, but I want to share this with you. I had been living in Las Vegas. I had a full-time job, but I did part-time modeling and it gave me some extra income. When I moved to the Bay Area, I joined an agency, Brebner in San Francisco. And as a professional model, I was allowed to go on jobs. And of course, this is interfering with my regular 9-to-5 job, but I did it. And I accomplished some things that when I think about it, or when I look back over some of the things that happened to me, I was an extra in the TV show, The Streets of San Francisco. I was in the San Francisco Magazine as one of the 10 sexiest women in San Francisco. I won't tell you who that was. I was on a billboard for Cool Cigarettes, a billboard. And that ad showed up on the back of the Jet magazine and the Ebony magazine. I did an ad for Hertz Rental Car, and that ad was in the Airplane magazine, like Newsweek or somebody. I had a couple of poster ads. One was for Ripple, and the other was for Thunderbird. I don't know if any of you are familiar with those drinks. This one really ages me. I did an ad, a newspaper ad that said they wanted us to appear as if we were getting money out of a ATM machine in the daytime and at night. Now this was before ATM machines were everywhere. And I did one other thing that was interesting because I did have this regular job, but I was on a daytime TV show where they, ask you a few questions and stuff. But these came to mind when I was trying to just say what I was doing before religious science. So as I moved to the Bay Area and I worked these jobs, I still had a full-time job because I had to pay the rent. And these jobs were great, fun, and I got paid well, but they were rare and far between. So eventually, now we moved up to what really came about when I came to Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. The interviewer actually said, I enjoyed the peacefulness, the presentation and everything, but it was more than that. I came from a Baptist church, and the way I got here is because this friend had told me about the book. So when she told me about the book and said there was a church like that, I came to OCSL. And when it came up, at a Baptist church, and most Baptist churches, and our Baptist church in particular, the fifth Sunday was the seniors sing. I was in the choir, so in a regular choir. And usually when the seniors sing, it's kind of quiet. It's nice, but it's not really like you would really miss something if you missed the fifth Sunday. They might not like that, but that's how I felt. So I agreed to come to OCSL on the fifth Sunday. And I was so impressed. It was so warm and friendly and open. They only asked me to, it was only for an hour. They only collected once. And the minister was just as sincere and sweet and open. And I just loved it. I thought it was stimulating, just coming into this peaceful, joyous, loving. And he talked about God as if God was right there with him. Now, coming from a Baptist church, remember, God is in heaven on high. I hadn't really made that transition that I can be one with God. And I did that because when I came to the church, I just dove right in. I remember the lady that invited me, she said, "You're going to take the classes?" I said, "Yes." I said, "If there's something in the world that will make life good for me, I want it." So I started taking classes right away. At that time, they were taking Science of Mind 1, which was 9 months, Science of Mind 2, which was 9 months. So you went to school the whole year. And after I had taken Science of Mind 1 and 2, Reverend Victor said, "Dodie, are you going to become a practitioner?" I said, "Oh, no, Reverend Victor. That's a little bit too deep for me." And he said, "What do you mean?" Well, I can tell you. At that time, I was partying. I was after 5 happy hour on Friday. And I was just being single, doing what I do. And he said, "Well, what do you think practitioners do?" I said, "Well, I think they'd have to be a little more saintly than me." He said, "Oh, no, Dodie, it's not like that." He said, "You become what you learn in these classes." Well, I had thoroughly enjoyed Science of Mind 1. In fact, I liked it so much. The summer was boring, and we only met once a week, and I was glad to take Science of Mind 2. So then I decided, okay, I'll take the practitioner class. I love them too, but I had an issue. I really didn't like the assignments. I love the readings and the discussions. It was invigorating, and I know I learned and grew from that. But at the end of Science of Mind, Practitioner 1, Victor said, "Dodie, if you intend to go to Practitioner 2, what you have to do, become a full licensed practitioner, you have to turn in your homework." Now, I had some outstanding assignments, but I thought to myself, well, and you can't do it unless you do this. And I thought, Reverend Victor can't tell me what to do. But my assignments wasn't that bad, so I filled out the assignments, and I took Prac 2. I became a licensed practitioner. I've always been very uncomfortable talking in front of people. So this is so great, just sitting in my room. But when I took the Science of Mind 2 class, I remember Reverend Margaret said, "Dodie, would you like to do the benediction?" And I thought, oh, no. But you know, when someone asks you something, it's like they have faith in you or they trust in you. So I said, okay. She said, it doesn't have to be long. You can just say whatever comes to your heart. I think this is probably the shortest benediction that ever exists because I basically just said, oh, I'm so happy that we're finished, you know, and went into something small and closed it out. Okay, moving forward as a practitioner, I have been involved with the Circle of Prayer. I ushered, I worked in the bookstore. I really participated in learning about the science of mind because it was so exciting for me. It was light and it wasn't a challenge. So as I continued to do this at the church, I wanted to be show your talent, your treasure, and your time. So I participated as much as possible. And then as I moved forward in the church and in all of this activity, I found that the growth in it was different. It wasn't a splash. It was gradual movement throughout. And as I grew in awareness and truth, I really loved this. And it wasn't hard for me to follow it. So as I continued in my science of mind classes and in working at the church and participating in things, I recognized that I was changing because they always tell you that when you get into religious science, you will change. You'll lose some friends and you'll have some different ideas about things or you're open differently. I say that to say I have a sister that I'm very close to. My sister was in New York at the time. And when she came here, I was so excited, telling her about religious science. We both grew up Baptists and we were active in our churches. And she told me one time, she said, Dodie, you know, you act like a Jehovah's Witness. Now, I don't have anything against Jehovah's Witness people. I'm okay with it. What she was saying is that I was showing her pamphlets and booklets and talking about it, so excited about it. I just went overboard. I had to back myself up. I remember I went home to Las Vegas shortly after that, and it was a new awakening for me. And what we say in religious science is you don't claim anything you don't want. Well, my mom had MS, and I would hear her say something like, I'm so pitiful. And I said, Mom, don't say that. Or something else like that. I said, Mom, don't say that. My mother told me, Dodie, if you say, don't say that one more time, you can go home. That's how different it was because I was trying my best to give them what I thought I found by myself, basically. At any rate, moving ahead, I love this philosophy. I think it's full of energy and truth that awakens you in a way that makes you feel that you are one with God and God is all that there is and there's nothing else. And that you're uniquely different and blessed in you, through you, as you. That is amazing. Now, understand why it's so amazing to me. It's because I'm from a family of 10 kids with 6 girls and 4 boys. I'm the 7th child, and there are three of us left. So, you know, nobody was ever special because when you're from a large family, you're all on the same. And every struggle or charge or whatever going on, it's on you. And I recognize that when I came to religious science, that it is on me, but it's also how I think, what I think, how I feel. So to recognize that things can be realized in a way in your life that's satisfying and happy and open for you, it's interesting because in a big family, you do pattern after the older kids, you accept space you're in. This allowed me a freedom that it was so amazing that I just love the way we operate, the way we understand, the way we accept God, the way we move through life believing in God and trusting in God. I know we use ATM, affirmation, treatment, and meditation. But there's a oil in there. And in recognizing this, it became clear to me during our devotional, 12 o'clock devotional with Reverend Dan Morgan. He says, belief, trust, and faith. Those really are the oils that shift affirmation, treatment, and meditation. And as these oils shift us, we're able to cling to things differently, see them as accept them, claim, declare, and expect of a realization of whatever this is that we're dealing with, that we're requesting, we're praying for, we're open to. Religious science has been so moving for me in that when I go back to my sister, when she moved back to the Bay Area, I tried to get her involved in it because I loved it so much. And we're close enough to often be right behind one another or right in step with one another. But she said to me one day, no, Dodie, I'm going to go back to the Baptist church. I like the brothers and the sisters and the deacons. And I missed all of that. But that was so different from becoming me, becoming one with God, that I was able to allow her to go to her wonderful Baptist church. And I still go to it sometimes for something they're having. She invites me. And I love it. I understand it. But I don't get the personal movement within my soul, within my spirit, within my oneness with the allness of God that I get from religious science. So in joy and in clarity and happiness, I can tell you, Dr. Dan says, we look at happiness as an event. Oh, I'll be so happy when I get my license. I'll be so happy when I get a new car. I mean, we move happiness to an event. And he talks in a way that allows you to accept happiness is not happy or unhappy. Happy is an energy field as well. It allows you to think or feel happiness. I know that this sounds like, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm rambling, but I just want you to feel what I feel. And when they asked me to do this presentation, I don't go up on the pulpit very often. And part of the reason I didn't do it is because I had this thing in me. When I get nervous, my voice changes. And when it changed, it sounds very whiny. It used to irritate me so bad that whatever I was saying, I would lose directions of saying it or comfort in saying it because I'm hearing that voice that annoyed me. And I heard other people say, well, I get nervous too, Dodie. My knees be shaking or my hands get sweaty. But that's not, you can hear my voice. It would just be different. Anyway, so that's why I spent so much time in things that I can control, like circle of prayer. I can be in prayer with anyone and everyone. And I love praying. And I can be in the prayer room with anyone, one-on-one, because what I feel, what I trust, what I know, I don't mind sharing. Dr. Dan said, you should preach, teach, and read. Now, and in one of his lessons, he said, if you don't do those things, you become selfish. So when I'm open all the way to this truth that I truly believe, and I accept it, I honor it, and I try to give it as often as I can, knowing that God is right where I am, revealing itself in me, through me, as me. The strength and power and presence of this energy lights me up. And I come to church, and Dr. Dan says also, well, everyone says this one, you worship God in spirit and in truth. So worshiping God in spirit and in truth you kind of move yourself out of the way. I think Reverend Jerry said it was Dr. Raymond Charles Barkley that said, move your bloated nothingness out of the way. It makes sense. If we just shift and move and allow God to be God in us as energy, as spirit. We say that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That makes sense to me too, because we're having this human experience. But to be able to settle your mind or think in terms of the spirit and the presence and the power of God right where you are, expressing through you, allows a growth, an openness. So in all of our lessons with Dr. Dan, I have shifted within myself to allow all things to become spiritual so that they're not blockages, they're not rigid, they're not holding me in a space or a place where that's how it is and that's it. No, the Spirit of God is everywhere, revealing itself in everything. Dr. Dan says, every nod, every stance, and every gesture. Isn't that powerful to think that God, we say it all the time, God in me, as me, is me. But to move it down to a level where you honor that it's in every nod, every stance, and every gesture is very powerful. So I say all this to say, I continue to grow in this philosophy. It shifts things that I didn't even think were blocking me. My awareness of the truth of my being is strong and powerful, and it opens up life in a different way. I see it in a different way. I accept it in a different way. Knowing that all is well, that God continues to bless, guide, and direct me, I move forward giving thanks for it. I move forward honoring it. I know, and I know that I know, that the life I live is God expressing. And what I know for me, I know for you. But we individually have to come to that agreement, come to that conclusion that we're not in this alone, that there is a power in the universe that's greater than we are, that we can use. That the power and presence of God is closer than hands and feet and nearer than our very breath. All of these truths, they said all of this. I heard it all in the Baptist church. But I don't think I took it in to the degree that religious science has helped me to understand, to accept, to believe. I know that as we move forward in this evening, there's some things I wrote out a lot of stuff because this is my first time doing this. And I wrote all of this up and it wasn't coming together and I didn't have any fluid to it. So I'm winging it. I'm just telling you what's in my heart. I'm just telling you that I am whole and I am holy because I believe and I trust and I value the stuff that we're learning, that we cling to, that we hold on to is real in that it's real in a clearer sense, in a more braver, stronger, confident way. I don't know how close we are to my time, but I did have something else to say, so I'll find it. I wrote down, claim the divine presence in all, through all, is all. Now that's a movement that God in me, as me, is me. We sing, everywhere I look, I see God. Well, every step I take, every move I make, I see God. Those are stimulating things. And some people say that when you sing, it's like double prayer. But Dan said in one of his talks that when he smiles, he gets back too. So there's always this movement of God that's shifting and moving through us in ways that if we just be thankful, be grateful, be open to it seems to, what we say also, multiply, shaken together, and running over. And that's in everything. So the power and presence of God, the awareness, the acceptance of it, the beauty and the truth of it, it's magnificent. It's more than I can describe. So in this knowingness, as we move forward, I am accepting that as you have accepted my truth, that you understand your truth is equally as powerful, equally as strong, and equally as available to you. I appreciate all of you coming. I hope I said something that is value, inspiration to you. And I hope that this has been a good time for you. I'm expecting.
Dodie, just great stuff. Great stuff.
Thank you, Paul.
Are you open to some comments from the audience or questions?
Absolutely.
For a few minutes?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, Dodie, I don't know if you can see your chat, but it's blowing up. Everything that people are saying about you tonight.
Yes, they are, sweetheart. Yes, they
Oh,
are.
my goodness. You are a holy uprising.
Thank you.
God is good.
So if there's a nugget of something, truth that resonated with you, or if there's something you'd like to share with Dodie, I'm going to ask you to turn on your camera and raise your hand, or use your reactions button to raise your hand. Miss Peggy Cotton is going to be our coordinator for who goes when. She'll recognize you. So Peggy, I'm going to give you the floor. And for the next 20 minutes or so, we'll navigate through our normal discussion process. Dodie, I can't thank you enough, but I'll have time to chat with you at the very end. I'm not done with you yet.
Okay.
Peggy, will you take this over for us and get it going?
Absolutely. Dodie. No, Dodie. OMG. Dorothy's next. Okay, but Dodie, thank you so much.
Yes.
So much.
Everyone for
sharing so much.
I want to share this story.
It's Dorothy's turn.
I want to share this story with everyone. When Reverend Jeff came to us as our senior minister, I put on the evening of blessings. And, you know, some of you have been there, you know what the procedure is with the evening of blessings. And when we were cleaning up and getting ready, Reverend Jeff came to me and he said, Dorothy, I love this evening of blessings, but I had prayer with that Dodie Chaney, and that girl can pray, okay? And he was off the hook. He fell in love with Dodie at the evening of blessings his first year, okay?
Thank you, Dorothy.
I want you to know that girlfriend is off the hook on Monday nights, okay? I mean, she was off the hook tonight, but she was off the hook with him with that evening of blessings. And he has never forgotten that. And I have never forgotten his response to that girl can pray. Okay. And I'm blessed to have her on Mondays in our circle of prayer. Dodie has showed up every Monday for the circle of prayer to pray for those that put in the prayer requests. And I'm blessed. I happen to be because of her sister, I was an usher in her wedding. Okay. I'm blessed. Okay. All the way around. I didn't know I was in the midst of a celebrity, but I am blessed. Okay. And thank you, Dodie, for a wonderful evening. Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Karen, please.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Dodie, you know, when you and Victor and I were doing the prayer work years ago, I learned so much sitting next to you at that table, just everything about you. And I just am so happy that hopefully soon we'll be back in the circle of prayer again in our circle. And in the meantime, it just is really lovely to see you and to know more about you than I even did before. So thank you, and I love you.
I love you too.
This is Lita. I have something to say. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I don't know if I'm muted or unmuted. First, I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Dodie, for that heartfelt sharing. I'm very touched. You took me on a journey from where you were years ago to where you are now, step by step. And I could follow you as you took the steps to where you are now. And it's like you went from 0 to beyond 10. You reached such a high point. I don't know how to express it, what I'm feeling, but I felt your spirit. I felt your truth. And I just honor what you said. You shared so much. I mean, you really took us on a spiritual journey. And it was like an adventure. It was an adventure.
Wonderful.
And I'm just, as I said, I'm deeply touched. Whew. It's almost overwhelming. So I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
And I certainly didn't know of your celebrity, and I enjoyed hearing about that. My goodness, and a model, oh my God. Oh, how lovely. So thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Maureen, did you have your hand up? Maureen?
Well, I was going to wait for everybody else who wanted to speak. Judith, did you want to go?
How did you know?
Anyway, I knew that Maureen would be next.
I would like to say just that there was some kind of a get together, a class or something. Someone came to visit and teach us about some things, somebody from somewhere else, they came. And I had the opportunity of, we broke up into dyads and I got to sit and talk to you or listen to you, because as I listened, I felt my own heart opening up at that time. It was many years ago when I was in prac class. And didn't really know anything about you. But I always felt like I didn't want to talk because I wanted you to keep talking. And it felt, and when we talk about Dr. Dean, and we're always looking for the nugget, and I think that came from you. And to me, every time you speak, there's always something to take away that is rich, and I can keep it and learn from it. And so thank you. I bless you, and I'm grateful for your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm off. I'm complete. Maureen.
Well, I'm just verklempt right now. Dodie, I mean, ever since I came, you've always been just such a wonderful, welcoming person. And then also just sitting here and looking at everybody and hearing you share about yourself and everybody sharing their love for you just made me realize like how much I love this community. And you were talking about like how, stop dog, that's my dog talking. You were saying about how, like, you know, your transition into science of mind and stuff like that. And I wasn't raised Baptist, but I like identified with a lot of the things that you talked about. And one of the ones that really stuck or really resonated with me was the fact that you mentioned it doesn't happen like all at once, like it's kind of gradual, and you get to see. And I've been in the center for now 4 years, and like, yeah, I'm like gradually seeing, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I got it this time. And so I identified that with you, but really I, like, before coming, I was pretty tender and, you know, just about Rev Jeff and just the changes and everything in our community. And then I was looking forward to coming, and here you are, and everybody's just sharing such love, and you're supporting, and I could just feel Lita sharing herself and how you've impacted her, and Judith, and it just feels so good. I can feel all the love and the energy, and thank you.
Welcome. No more
Hello?
questions.
I was wondering if Robin has something to say.
Actually, I have my hand up.
Oh, there you go. I didn't.
Okay.
Where you get your, there it is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Constance.
Well, Dodie, I have a question for you, and it's about because I first remember way back when I talked to you about doing Dr. Dan for 1 month in February, and you said, well, you know, I don't really like to talk in public, and and so we talked about it, and I said, well, you don't really have to lead it. You can just facilitate, you know, you just have to get the going. And so now we are into what, the 4th month of Dr. Dan. And then I kept saying, well, Dodie, how about you doing a Wednesday night? And, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that. So talk about the process, because I think it's really important, because you clearly, you drew on something inside yourself to say, okay, I can do this, or I'm willing to give it a try. And can you talk a little bit about that, about how you got from, oh, I can't speak in public, to just giving us a beautiful, heartfelt talk without any notes?
Well, I can honestly say, as you grow in your truth, it strengthens you. So I think as I've grown in my truth, believing that God is my life, God is all that there is, I have to put that in the perspective of, okay, I'm scared. Well, if God is my life and God is all that there is and God is good, you can pull yourself back from that. I think it was, in one of Dr. Dan's talk, he says something about your affirmations can be lost in fear,
Mhm.
And I thought about that a lot. You know, we can say our affirmations as positive as we possibly can think of it. But if you're scared, if it makes you nervous, if you're afraid, somehow you're not fulfilling the affirmation. So
Mm.
when we say we use affirmation treatment and meditation, and I use all of them. I actually love this philosophy. I love the life it provides. It shows up as me. So when you asked me in February to do it, I thought, well, I can do this. And I was very uncomfortable, but it's amazing because God is. So he's showed me a way of not only doing it, but breaking it up in a way that grasps what we're putting out there. So the bell thing, and I went through the whole month of February. I think I stumbled through it, and people kept coming, and we kept growing in it. And
Yeah.
us have found that every day that we take this, it feels like there is a nugget in every lesson. And I remember one of the practitioners said, why doesn't he just say what he want to say? Well, because if you open up the reading and you discuss it and people put some clarity on it, or fuller solution or fuller understanding or clearer understanding of whatever his subject is for that day. So that's how I pushed myself through it. And then after that, Dodie, can you just do one more week and then we'll split it up. So since that time, we split it up, and people have just jumped in, and we keep, and I'm not advertising. I'm just sharing what we're getting from it. And we talk, and and even several people said, well, when I read this book, it was kind of flat. I didn't get that. Well, it's true. It some of the devotional talks are, when you first read them, you think, what is he saying? But you read them, we talk about it, you get clarity, and you recognize the nugget. And we've called this devotional thing everything. Initially, we were saying we're in a master's religious science class, but that sounded like we were putting down the other classes, and that didn't feel good. Then we said, no, we're in grade school. So every month we name it, just to give it something. And here lately, I heard somebody say, we're in recess. Like, the last one they've come up with was, we're in a playpen or something. But we keep trying to identify it as this 30 minutes, sometimes goes over. It's such a precious, intimate, warm and friendly and open period that it allows everybody to get something. Does that answer your question, Constance?
Well, it got you talking, which is what I wanted to do. And also, I want to say one other thing, which is as long as everything is God and you figured out you could facilitate a group and you could do a Wednesday night, that the computer is also God.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Look out. You're on Constance's list. Look out.
And it's actually, the computer is just learning to talk a different language. That's all it is.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. I have learned so much from you, and I do know that on Wednesdays sometimes when I start talking about something in form, you don't really say anything, but you give me this look that's sort of a sideways look, and you take it right back to principle. And I just so appreciate that. You bring me right back to principle, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Luis, did you have your hand up? Unmute yourself.
No, but Dodie, I didn't realize you had such a famous life. I did a little modeling myself back in New York. It was mostly runway though, and it was fun. Of course, I was a lot younger then.
As I was too.
But you know, it's inspiring and uplifting to listen to you, if I may use the word, regurgitate your history, especially in religious science from the beginning. And it makes me aware of when I started, because a lot of stuff I hadn't thought about in some time, and you brought it back to me. Because I started with Reverend E over on over there by the freeway. I forget the name of that park. Anyway, and I really got into it the first time I went there too. It was like, oh, it was familiar and it was comfortable. And I could relate to the word and the meaning that was being presented. Is something wrong?
No.
Oh. Stop that. You had science. You don't use word. I have to say thank you.
You're welcome.
For allowing me to accept more of what we're really doing. That goes for Mondays and as a practitioner and as growing our lives.
Yeah.
To come to a closer connection with the force that runs the show.
Yes.
So I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you see you soon on Monday.
Hey.
And thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have we got one more? Do we have time for one more?
Can I talk?
Yes, please.
I didn't hear the last share because I got knocked off. I just got back on. But Dodie, it was thoroughly delightful and enjoyable. You took me on a journey. It was like being on a journey back to the warmth of the community and time that I grew up in. And you just shared so many things, and I appreciate your sharing your history and your accomplishments and so forth. I was part of a community of people who came from the old the Jim Crow South, you know, coming to California to seek out some new opportunities, safety, dignity. People coming from all over the South. Louisiana was my particular area. The San Francisco, Richmond, Berkeley, Oakland. And we were just so hungry for everything and in seeing everything, and seeing Black faces was such a treat. Like on magazines and so forth, finding out, knowing that you were on, you know, the Ebony and Jet and the airline magazines and so forth. We were just hungry, and we'd be pointing every direction, like and communicating. If you saw somebody Black on TV, and the TVs then were scarce for us, we would gather in somebody's home that had a TV to watch something, you know, special on TV. And so anyway, if the community was warm and loving, and I am kind of don't particularly go towards sharing those times. You took me there on that journey. I wasn't expecting to go because I missed so many of them that are now not visible on this plane, but were so important to me growing up and so helpful. So anyway, thank you so much. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I loved the Dr. Dan noontime meetings, and they are wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for sharing this evening.
Okay, Robin, would you like to jump in right about now?
Sure. Dodie, unfortunately, I missed a lot of it. But I can tell by all that's been said that all the times you've come up to me and said, I need to take a class, I need to work with you, I need to learn how to be able to speak. Clearly, you got it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I'm looking forward to hearing it over on the replay.
Thank you, Robin.
Paul, how are we doing? Did you want to make a remark, Paul? I thought I saw your hand.
I'd like to first say thank you to everybody that shared. If no one has a burning share, I'd like to move on with the program. I know we're supposed to stick to an hour, but Dodie, you were absolutely phenomenal. Exceeded everything that I could have possibly hoped for tonight.
Thank you.
I'm so blessed that I get to see you every day at noon. And I think if I was to put in essence what you shared with me tonight that I'm taking home for a nugget is what you share with me on clearly every day when we meet, Paul. It's a journey because I have all this. You have to remind all the Dr. Dans are laughing right now, but Dodie's the one that slaps me and said, instead of wake up, she goes, Paul, it's a journey. And you took us on a journey tonight. People have said this over and over, and I think that's your mission. Is you take us on a journey, Dodie, and it's such a blessing to have you. You're just phenomenal. You truly are a holy uprising. Demonstrated. Dr. Dan says there'll be ups and there'll be downs, and you shared those with us tonight. It's a journey. I'm so grateful that you're leading us on that journey. Let's show our appreciation as we can.
Yeah, let us all get that reaction button and clap for Dodie, okay? Let us all clap. Get that reaction button going. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a lot of stuff in the chat about you, Dodie, if you get a chance to read it. But Carmen wanted to let me, she asked me to let you know that she wasn't able to share tonight, but she loves you very much.
Yes, she does. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Jackie Onapetty, the same thing. They love you. They were here to support you, darling.
And Deborah said you are a hidden gem of OCSL. Well,
yes.
It ain't a secret no more. Okay. We have exposed you.
Right.
So I
it's
hope
all out in the open now.
Again on Wednesday. So, beloved family, if you let me, we're going to run through some announcements. They're all important. I have a very special announcement tonight that I think you all will find interesting. I'll be revealing it for the first time tonight because you guys are good Wednesday night folks. And you know, if there's news, it's going to come through Wednesday before it comes through Sunday. So Peter, if you're ready, can we start with the that thing, the PowerPoint? And I'll get my notes up here. So this Sunday is Reverend Savannah, and she'll continue our theme of Holy Uprising with a talk on revolutionary love. Meditation is at 10 and service starts at 10:30. And then on next Wednesday is the fabulous, I'm all choked up from Dodie, Practitioner Doug Myers, who will be continuing the theme of revolutionary love. That's next Wednesday at 6:30 and service at 7. Now on this Sunday after service, the board of directors is bringing our temporary minister. Now, this is the minister before the interim minister, and she's going to be with us after church on Sunday. Her name is Reverend Sunny Contrell Smith, and she'll be available right after the Sunday service to share what she will be doing and to answer any questions. And she's going to prepare us to get ready for an interim minister and then ultimately our senior minister. So she's coming here to help us. So she'll be appearing on Sunday after service. More about that on Sunday. That's the special announcement. But as we come into the dry season, if any of you want to help with the garden, Margot and Zoe really would like you to volunteer to help with on the watering schedule. Check the Village News for contact information. Hopefully some will come forward in that way. Have a couple announcements that are not on the slide. We talked about the Noontime Spiritual Journey group. We keep meeting Monday through Friday. This is the book of Dr. Dan Morgan. I have it right here, Guidance for a Spiritual Journey. We meet at noontime. On the events page, you can see the access point on that. Also, Susan Brecker is leading in-person small groups every Tuesday from 3 to 4 in the courtyard. And Practitioner Zoe DeMuro is leading an online small group on Thursday, 6:30, where they both explore the readings for the week and enjoy the connections and the gatherings that they afford. If you're new and you're joining us for the first time, we have a village newsletter on the left-hand side of the website. You can put your email address and it'll be sent to you, so you can get all of this information right through your email. Dodie, thank you for the meditation. Dorothy, thank you for opening and closing us in prayer. I want to thank Peggy, Peter, Sage, Alice, all of the Zoom team behind the scenes. We can't do this without you so much. We're grateful. Peter, if you show the offering slide, we all know what offering is. Dodie has filled us up tonight with her gift. So the gift I give is God in action.
Good work in the world.
It does good work in the world and blesses creation. Amen. So if you have an offering you'd like to give, the easy way to do it is on the website where everything is located on the donate button, or you can text it as it shows right there at 510-327-3431. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and send it to the address in the middle there. Bless you all. We thank you so much for your gifts.
Yes.
Dodie, you were phenomenal tonight. I'm
Yes,
grateful.
absolutely.
I'm all choked up, girl. All choked up. Dorothy, can you close us out in prayer?
Absolutely.
On time.
Absolutely. As we breathe in the love and the light of God, giving thanks for this Wednesday night service and this magnificent speaker that we had today, Dodie Chaney Fernandes. Giving thanks for everyone who participated in this service today. And we know that God is our source and our sufficiency in all things. And as we go forth this week, we go grounded and surrounded in the love and the light of God, knowing that everything is working for our highest good. And we give thanks. We give thanks for the message that was given to us today, because we know that God is our source and our sufficiency in all things. So I say, reach out and touch somebody. Show them the way of love, joy, peace, and harmony. As we go forth this week, we know that God goes before us, guiding, guarding, and protecting us. I give thanks for this and for the more. As we go forth, we say, let go and let God. And together we say, and so it is.
So it